Grandmasters. Uh, Recently, I enrolled for a part-time PhD program. And as a run-up to that course, I was doing some reading on statistics. And one topic that fascinated me, which is an unfamiliar topic, I hope, to most of you, is this concept, fantastic concept called decision trees. So what is a decision tree? And today we are going to talk about decision tree and what it is. So in every walk of life today, we use decision tree in some form or the other. So one very common example that we do is whether or not to take our umbrella out on a rainy day. So for the first question we ask is it raining outside? So you will say yes or no. So depending on the response, you will either pick an umbrella or you won't. So that's a very simple example of what a decision tree is all about. So let's take another example where a complex decision tree, which we have come across. So take this example of someone walking into a doctor's place. So what are the questions that a doctor would typically ask? First question is, do you have fever? So he will start questioning the symptoms one at a time, right? First, he will ask, okay, well, do you have a fever, any cough? Do you have headaches? So what the doctor actually does is, behind the back of his mind, he's actually drawing what is called a decision tree. So when depending on the answer, say for example, you don't have a fever but you have a cough, then it is a different diagnosis altogether. So that's a common decision tree that we all see during the daily walk of life. And behind the back of the mind, this is exactly a decision tree that the doctor is plotting. So fever, yes or no. So if it is not a fever and if there is a cough alone, so this is a flu of so-and-so type. And if it is a cough, if it is no fever and no cough, if it is a flu of a different kind. So this is a diagnosis that the doctors typically do when it comes to decision trees. So what is a decision tree? What is the downside of a decision tree? Say, for example, when the doctor keeps building this decision tree, one symptom at a time, over a period of time, when he sees hundreds and hundreds of patients, the tree grows over a period of time and it becomes unwieldy and becomes a huge tree. And so that is one downside of decision tree, which means that the doctor would end up asking endless number of questions to complete the diagnosis. So what is the way out? The way out is to prune the tree by asking the right questions first. So which question the doctor should ask you first depends on the number of questions he is going to ask. If he picks the wrong question as the first question, the tree is going to grow larger and larger. Whereas, so that is what is called, we call that as a pruning the tree by asking the right questions first. Wondering where we use this, or where we have seen this in the past. So do you remember this man? Can you type in the chat window? Do you remember this man? Do you remember this show? Any guesses?
This is that Yaar Manasla Yaar kind of thing.
Absolutely. So this is Yaar Manasla Yaar by Grandmaster Pradeep. So what Pradeep does is, Vijay, do you want to take a stab at it as to what this show is all about?
Okay, so I think of a personality if I'm the guest for the day, and he will be asking me questions to nail down on exactly the personality that I've been thinking of. It could be any personality that I know, a tennis player or anyone, a national leader or anyone. So he'd be asking me questions one by one, and he will finally nail exactly who the person is. I think there is a restriction to the number of questions that
8th or 9th.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So he will be given 20 questions only. So the Grandmaster is given 20 questions only. And the game is all about, you can think about any personality or an object. And by asking the right questions, he will nail down that personality. So that's this show is all about. So what Pradeep does is he exactly does what is called the pruning the tree by asking the right questions. And the pruning the tree happens using this quotient called Genie's quotient. So I call this Genie as the genie that answers the right questions. So by asking the right questions, Pradeep gets to guess that person or the object quickly. So, and what is this Genie all about? Genie is a coefficient that helps ask the right question. It is a mathematical measure. It is invented by Corrado Gini and in the year 1912. So how do you calculate Genie's coefficient? Say, for example, originally, Corrado Gini arrived at this coefficient to identify the income inequality in a given country. So he plots the percentage of population in the x-axis and the percentage of income in the y-axis. So what he gets is called the Lorenz curve, which you see here. So this Lorenz curve is the curve of inequality, whereas the one that you see as a 45-degree line is a perfect equality line. So the Gini's coefficient is all about deriving a ratio of the inequality divided by the total area beneath the Lorenz curve. So if you look at the Gini's coefficient that is plotted for income inequality across various countries, it looks something like this. This is a 2018 data. So if, as you can see, there's, some of the African countries have great income inequality, which you see by the darker shades, and there are countries with low income inequality. In 2007 blockbuster Shivaji, when Rajni talks about rich getting richer and poor getting poorer, he is talking exactly what is called as the income inequality. Had Rajni explained Gini's coefficient in the movie Shivaji, I wouldn't have to do this speech at Meraki. With that, what is that we have a takeaway from this? So what can we do as individuals do to push the Lorenz curve up? So there are three things that we can do. Wrapping it up, number one, we need to improve our financial literacy and create passive sources of income and invest that surplus prudently so that we can all push up the Lorenz curve and get that perfect equality line. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much,